Welcome back to White Lotus Sports, guys. Chris and Brad here with you today. We're going to talk about WrestleMania coming up here in shortly after this video is posted. Uh, Brad, you want to get us right into the first match of what we presume will be the first match of night one, and we'll go through our predictions here.
Yeah, this is almost like a double dip of predictions because not only are we predicting the winner of each match, but we're also kind of predicting what we think is going to be night one and night two. So, guys, don't kill us in the comments if that's not how it ends up playing out. We're using limited unofficial information right now. But like you said, let's jump right into it. World Tag Team Championship match. First of all, I'm just excited to see tag team titles being defended on WrestleMania because that's not always the case. I know we did see the unified tag team championships be defended in a WrestleMania main event not too long ago, depending on how you feel about a night one main event being called that.
Hmm.
But we've got the War Raiders, which are the current reigning champions. They've had a pretty good run there on Raw.
Mhm.
They are defending against the new heel iteration of the New Day. And I've got the New Day becoming champions. I feel like the tag team championships could use a little bit of I guess, like an exciting occurrence. Not to say that War Raiders have been a bad champions. I just feel like you get a lot more attention with the New Day. I feel like you can have more done with the belts with the New Day carrying them. I feel like they need a little bit of a reward for taking what was a very stale, long running face faction or now tag team with Big E's departure from active competition.
Mhm.
And I think rewarding them for taking this new heel direction of the team and letting them see what they can do with the belts.
Yeah, I have the heel New Day winning this and trying out a championship run as heels. And I think part of this is just going to be taking things in a different direction. I like the War Raiders. I think they do a great job. A very athletic big men, and but I do think they're at a turning point, and this is going to be a common theme in my predictions. I think they're just going to change things up a little. See how it goes. You can always go back or uh, revert back to something that's more comfortable if it doesn't work. So.
Yeah, and I think not that I want to get too deep into every match, but there's also the stat padding stuff that gets brought up. Racing history, and you always want this era to have something over the previous era. Not records are made to be broken, and so I think it's currently the Dudleys that have the record for most tag team title reigns within the company, or maybe that's across all companies.
Yeah.
But the New Day has had a lot of title reigns, and they've got to be nipping on the heels. A lot of people want the New Day to be viewed as one of the best tag teams of all times and best factions of all time. So giving them another title reign, not only in this new, refreshing persona of theirs compared to what their other reigns were under as faces, but just to give them another title reign, add that to their resume. I could see that happening and being part of it, just to kind of put them a little bit higher up, one more notch on the belt, so to speak.
Yep.
Uh, Next match I've got is a singles match, kind of a little bit of a grudge match. Naomi and Jade Cargill. Obviously, we saw Jade Cargill return at the Elimination Chamber. She attacked Naomi before the match or at the start of it, and cost Naomi in that one. So, what do you think about this match, and who do you have winning?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, Jade is probably the only person around right now who I've even spoken to in WWE while she was a basketball player at Jacksonville and I was a sports marketing assistant. I loved what she brought to AEW, and I think this will be the moment they push her a little bit harder in WWE with a Mania win.
Yeah, and there's another a match that we'll get to later on. If you check out our part two, that will be featured there. But I think this is the match before the match, so to speak. I think a lot of people might have had a different WrestleMania opponent for Jade Cargill, and like I said, we'll get to that later on. But I also have Jade Cargill winning this just because I feel like it does a lot more for her. I feel like she needs this win to propel her into her next feud, which seems to be coming up pretty quickly.
Yeah. Uh, Next one I had was LA Knight, Jacob Fatu. Is that what you had?
Yes, yeah, United States Championship match. I think this is going to be another opportunity where times are changing. LA Knight hasn't had a bad run with the belt, so to speak. I think some of his matches have been good, but stories underwhelming. But Jacob Fatu, I think the rocket ship is strapped to his back. I don't think he is conventionally worried about titles like we've seen. but it's more so just he wants to prove that he's better than other people, and I think that he is better than a lot of them. So I've got Jacob Fatu winning his first title in the WWE by beating LA Knight.
Yeah, LA Knight is very over, or at least he was the last time I saw him.
Yeah,
But Fatu, but Fatu has really gone out and proven himself since joining, and I see them rewarding that with a title win here. So yeah, it's
and you
good.
see this happen a lot. Sometimes when heels become loved by the fans, it's almost just a lot of respect that gets shown, and he's earned it all. So I think that respect gets paid back. It's not too often that you see heels in a heel faction where Solo gets just absolutely shitted on by the live crowds, but people are cheering anything that Jacob Fatu does. They love his stunts, they love his athleticism, and I feel like he's going to continue to get better and rise up those ranks. But it starts with the United States Championship win here.
Yep, yep, yep.
Next one I had was the women's championship match. This was a very slow build, I think, for
Mhm,
a lot of people, in that what they were trying to do to get people excited for the match just wasn't working.
mhm.
And then it went off the rails a little bit with some real life stuff getting brought into it. And now I think more people are looking forward to it than ever before. But who do you have between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair?
I'm pretty confident in this one. I have Stratton winning over a very well established name to propel herself to new heights. I think this was always the plan. I don't think the real life personal heat changes anything. It just makes it a whole lot more fun.
Absolutely. And I thought this was going to be one of the first matches that we differed on, but I also had Tiffany Stratton. I think most people actually predict Charlotte Flair to win. She came back, she won the Rumble. It's another title. I think she's at 14 championship wins now. And obviously, the Ric Flair being her dad, that's brought up often.
Mhm.
And the number of championships he's won is big for another match that we're going to talk about in part two.
Yeah,
But I don't see her winning number 15 here. I think it does a lot more for Tiffany Stratton to get this win at WrestleMania.
that's right. That's right. The next one I have up is Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. What do you got here?
So again, this was one of the harder ones to pick because I could argue both sides of the fence on why each one needs the win. But I think in typical WrestleMania fashion, I've got Rey Mysterio winning. I don't think he needs it. I think he is the established star. This would be a good win for whoever is under the mask of El Grande Americano. I don't know. Do you? I hope. Uh, but I could see this being one of those where some things are done at WrestleMania just to keep the crowds happy, and Rey Mysterio is always going to be a big time favorite with the crowd. And I see him winning with a lot of shenanigans, maybe even an unmasking.
Well, I've never been a huge fan of Rey Mysterio or how he rose to the heights he did. But this new, fresh, never seen before, definitely not Chad Gable or even Shorty G, seems like a good contender. And I think he gets the win. And then he reveals himself as the person we all knew he was all along, our truth.
Yeah, okay. I know you're a big fan of this next match and everything about it. I've got the World Heavyweight Championship being defended by Gunther, the ring general, against Royal Rumble winner Jey Uso. So if we are right about this, then that means both Royal Rumble winners will be having their title matches on night one. Go ahead and tell us who you have winning as a prediction, not as a preference.
Oh God, here we go. So sorry, not sorry about the editing or not, either way. Fuck Jey Uso. Oh, we're raising our arms with the crowd. Oh, kicking a super kick. Oh, we're doing a non-frog style splash. Stop the hype and give me Gunther to retain. And as much as a hater as I am, I actually think this does happen now. I've heard many people with the same opinion as myself, and I'm suddenly not in the minority of Jay haters. Um, I suspect WWE has seen the same thing. And while they appreciate the fan engagement and the merchandise sales, they aren't ready to shit on the integrity of one of their main titles, which I do see it that way, and put it on mid event Jey Uso. So believe that.
Well, I think the one thing that's working, maybe in Gunther's favor, but in my prediction against him, is I don't think that every title reign needs to be a long historic reign. Gunther obviously is coming off of a very long reign as Intercontinental Champion. I think it was 666 days.
Mhm.
Roman had over 1,300 days as champion. Cody Rhodes has obviously held the belt for a year now. I don't think that Gunther needs to have a very long reign just to be successful. I think
No.
this is going to be one of those strike while the iron is hot. I think a lot of people were very surprised that Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. We were two of those people. And I think it's only worth it if you elevate him by doing so and making him a world champion at WrestleMania by defeating Gunther and capping off this storyline. I think it's the way they do it. I do have Jey Uso winning it, even though it's not what I want to see. It's what I see happening. He becomes a world champion, actually puts a little bit of credibility to that main event moniker by making him a world champion. Not to say he doesn't then turn around and drop the belt a month or two later, one or two defenses in. I could even see Gunther taking it back, but to have a face champion on Raw might make the Netflix execs happy. We'll see. But I do
But
have Jey Uso winning that.
but you do acknowledge that it will probably be a pretty short reign.
Definitely. I mean,
Keep it that way.
SummerSlam at the longest, but
Mhm.
not even necessarily that long. I don't think that he holds it till WrestleMania next year. We don't see a very long reign. We saw this with Jack Swagger. We saw it with Dolph Ziggler as they bring up these mid carders and tag team guys up to the main event. You see what catches fire. You give them an introductory title reign to see how fans react to it, how they react to it. Some men aren't born to carry the weight of being world champion. Not to say that Jey Uso is or isn't, but we will see. There's a lot of responsibilities on it. That's actually been a talking point by Cody Rhodes recently. Is he does a lot for the company as world champion, and he does it proudly. We'll have to see what Jey Uso does as world champion, but I think that he does walk out of WrestleMania with that title.
And to be fair, like you just said, they've tried this before. I haven't seen Kofi near the world title picture in a long time. So
Right.
struck while the iron was hot. They gave it a shot. Didn't work out.
Yeah, and this is kind
Maybe.
of maybe we shouldn't get into this at this time of place. Maybe this is better served as a podcast. But you know, how many times have you heard somebody say as a critique that WWE doesn't make new stars, and that's why they have to rely on the John Cena's, the Rocks, the Undertakers, the Stone Colds, always coming back to try to
Mm,
put over guys because they can't make their own stars organically.
yeah.
This is an opportunity of them at least trying to do that. Jey Uso is clearly over. I've said it before. This is this generation's Jeff Hardy. When Jeff Hardy won WWE Championship, I never viewed Jeff Hardy as being world champion material, but that didn't matter because he still held that belt. And I think Jey Uso gets the same treatment, even if just on a trial basis. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
All
I
right.
think what everybody's watching this video for is the main event. You Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. I could see us going in a number of different directions here. This is another one of those where I can make arguments for all three men, why they
Mhm.
should or shouldn't win, but I'm curious to know who you have winning.
Yeah, I had the same thought. There's so many things that could happen here. Brock could be involved, but I doubt it. What I look for here is for Heyman to be heavily involved. And I think with all the buildup and all the emotion and so on, Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins stand tall in a screw punk over type of finish. I think this somewhere down the road leads to Rollins winning the title with Heyman by his side in the near future, and then sort of a CM Punk finish the story type of deal for next year's WrestleMania. And
So
that's my
you have
prediction. Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins winning. Well, no surprise. I also have Seth Rollins winning. I was kind of hoping that we would have different ideologies on some of these picks, but seems like we've been in lockstep for the majority of these. But yeah, Seth Rollins, and I think it is a lot of Heyman shenanigans. They've brought up the word loyalty so much, and the one thing that nobody has really brought out is how disloyal Paul Heyman has been in his career. Obviously, he was with Brock Lesnar for a long time, but I remember him being with the Big Show. I believe he was with Kurt Angle for a time period, and it certainly seemed like he was just jumping onto whoever the champion was. And so, yeah, he can be the tribal chief's wise man, and he can be CM Punk's best friend or whatever they're calling him with that. But Seth Rollins and this new inclination of now you owe me a favor, and what does that mean moving forward? Rollins has brought up some of the best points on the mic in some of these segments. I also feel like he benefits the most from this win moving forward. You're not going to be able to knock CM Punk down the card. Same for Roman Reigns. He's golden. He's set as a main eventer. That's never going to change. But Seth Rollins has taken so many high profile losses, but he's really carried this company in a big way. And I think he gets rewarded with a win here. And I would love to see what happens as a combination with Paul Heyman moving forward and maybe as the first challenger to new world heavyweight champion Jey Uso.
And the Heyman thing goes back even further if you think about it, because he was this loyal ECW guy, and if anyone's seen documentaries, and a lot of people, maybe if you're watching this, have, he was like secretly in bed with WWE or WWF at the time already, while he was still kind of, he knew that ECW was a sinking ship, and he was taking loans and loaning talents and showing up, doing commentary and stuff like that. He screwed over his own company in a way. Like, I know he didn't just say to hell with him, but he did just sell them soon after and go bankrupt or whatever it was. I forget. So
Yeah,
yeah, there's no loyalty there.
the self-preservation in Heyman is strong. And it's kind of one of those things where I think of obviously Jey Uso is a face. Seth
Mhm.
Rollins has been one of the great tweeners of recent memory. He's flowed between the two sides. But if Paul Heyman can single-handedly, simultaneously screw over Roman Reigns and CM Punk to align with Seth Rollins, that heat is nuclear. And we talked about it in the last match. How long can Jey Uso last as world heavyweight champion? I think this is kind of your answer. How long can you keep the union of Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman away from a world championship there on Raw? And I don't think it's very long. So that's kind of my fantasy booking right there. Jey Uso beats Gunther. Gunther is then free to do something else. But Seth Rollins immediately steps in the forefront of that title picture along with Paul Heyman, because that's what Heyman does. He's kind of the kingmaker in this, and he only has world champions at his side. And I think Seth Rollins is the next one. But I think that caps us off for night number one. We are going to break this into two separate videos just to make it a little easier for you guys to consume and watch. So we are going to cut it right there. But I do hope that you join us for our night two predictions, and we've got some other big matches to talk about.